We've got a coup, a coming-of-age ceremony, and a bunch of guys who just want control of that throne. Stay tuned as we discuss Catherine the Great.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, welcome to our very first AfterBuzz TV recap of Catherine the Great. We have a coup to talk about, we have a coming-of-age ceremony, and with me, I've got two amazing co-hosts. We are joined by Haley.
Hey guys.
And Benjamin.
Hello everybody, good to be back.
Yeah, I am so excited to talk about this show, especially all the German involved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so be sure, we're going to go through all of the content of this week and analyze it, but be sure to stay tuned until the end. We've got a couple of special segments. We've got a gossip relationship segment, we've got our historical and accuracies segment, and we've got some news and predictions. So be sure to keep watching or you'll miss it. Okay.
What a show.
We've got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff, especially for all of us who love history so much.
Right.
All right. Before we dive in, and we just have so much to cover with the history, let's just start with the fact that we meet Catherine pretty quickly at the top of the show, and we see her going to the Schlüsselburg prison. Right. What did you guys make of that? And we meet so many people. We meet prisoner number one.
Right.
We meet Merovich, and we actually just kind of get a sense of who Catherine is. So what did you guys think of Catherine in this scene? Like, how did it set the stage for you?
It made her seem very powerful. I don't know why, like, me watching her go visit prisoners was just such a power move.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I thought she was going to do something.
Yeah, I felt like when she got in, I felt immediately that she has power. I mean, I think Helen Mirren, as we all know, she's a great actress, right? So she really portrayed that very well. In the first second, I was like, oh my God, what is she going to do? And I feel like this guy, I knew immediately the relationship between these two. You know what I mean? Because I felt like, okay, she did something very bad. I had a feeling.
Yeah.
And he should have been in her position or something. That's what
And we know from the start of the show that all they really tell us up front, for anyone who's not familiar with history, is that there was her husband, Peter the Third,
right,
was the Tsar, and that within 6 months, she overthrew him and became the empress, and then he died mysteriously.
Of course.
That's all we know.
Of course.
So from going into it like that, and the fact that Helen Mirren is the actress playing Catherine, I didn't know how to take Catherine at first.
Right.
I thought that Merovich was dead. I thought he was gonna die in that scene.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like at the beginning, I felt like she's very powerful, but then also very, even still insecure. I think she knows how much power she has from outside.
Yeah.
But then watching her, how she's behaving in front of people, and then also kind of almost talking to herself, I feel like she's still kind of insecure.
I totally agree with you on that.
Because she's like, oh my God, I still feel like that everyone is against me, even that I'm the emperor right now.
Yeah.
That was very interesting to see these kind of opposite feelings.
And that paranoia.
Oh yeah.
She's a woman in power.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And with that, with the paranoia, and I just thought that she was going to snap on Merovich, have someone execute him right on the spot, and then go. But she didn't do that.
Yeah.
And so to me, that completely shifted my expectations of what what she could have done. Because if she, like you said, she did show that she had a lot of power, but she showed it without actually doing anything.
Exactly.
It was just her presence.
Right. I feel like, watching her the first episode, I feel like she's kind of a woman who's not really cruel or really that brutal.
Yeah.
But I think now she's realizing, being in that position, she has to change a little bit. I think she becomes even more brutal. And we see that in the first episode right at the end. I don't want to talk about it at the beginning, but we see that she changed already in the first episode, right? She was out of a sudden, yeah, we have to do this.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming.
And I think, speaking to that, the whole theme of the episode is this idea that she is a female in power in 1762. This, presumably, we're dealing with 1770 at this point, because that's when her son Paul actually has his coming of age. Mm-hmm. So presumably that's the year we're at, even though they didn't quite say it.
Right.
But we're dealing with a woman who she's ruling in a time when women did not rule, and there's all of these people around her who want to take that power away from her,
Right.
assume it's going to go to her son, assume, like, as we start to meet more characters too,
Right.
That's kind of a good place for us to kind of jump a little bit further. We had her kind of just go to scope out prisoner number 1 to
Right.
kind of assess his threat level.
Right.
And then we quickly learn when we get to the next scene with Minister Paynon that she really, like, she feels these threats, but she also doesn't listen to other people around her. She's
Right.
very strong-willed. So what did you make, we get to that point where she's giving, we meet Paynon, and then we also meet Count Orlov.
Right.
So what did you guys make of the power dynamic between not just Paynon, but Orlov too,
Right.
and Catherine?
You can go.
Please go.
It was very interesting to me because you can see they kind of like want her a little bit. My personal, like, and it's really weird to me because I don't think she's a very nice person. I really enjoyed watching them interact with her though.
Yeah. So I think my take on it too was that instantly the other person we meet is Lieutenant Potemkin, who we know is going to become a really key player.
Right.
We meet him, and it's almost like when Orlov points him out and points out the fact that he was there on the day of the coup with them overthrowing Peter.
Yeah.
The moment that he's pointed out to Catherine, it's
Yeah.
almost like you can tell that Potemkin is going to have
Yeah.
a crush on her.
I like him
like
very
a schoolboy
much.
crush.
I feel like, you know what, talking about the contrast and these kind
Yeah.
of opposite powers, right? So what I realized that I feel like Catherine didn't really want to kill her husband in a way. You know what I mean? I think that was
Yeah.
not her kind of choice.
Yeah.
I think all the men around her are pretty much just using her because she's the female and now we are the majority are men and now we are trying to get a woman in power right next to us so we can become also someone in this kind of society at some point. And I think at some point she's also realized, but wait a second, I'm the emperor right now, so I actually have the power. I
Yeah.
think she doesn't even know already how much power she actually has. You know?
I agree with you, and I also think, so the thing with Catherine is that everybody around her, they probably assume, like, we have Orlov,
Right.
we've got Paynon. Like,
Yeah.
they're like two key guys who are sort of
Exactly.
around at this moment.
For sure.
And they, like, it feels like, especially with Count Orlov, that he thought, okay, I'm going to help her overthrow Peter, and it almost feels like it was his idea.
Exactly.
And then once I do that, I'm going to be like the de facto ruler of Russia, and
Exactly.
she's going to marry me, and I'm going to be the emperor, and like that. This is how this is going to play out.
Right.
But we're quickly seeing that no, like Catherine has more
Exactly.
power than anybody, and she's going to do it her way.
Exactly. I think no one expected that.
Yeah.
Especially
She's-
Olaf, he didn't expect that, right?
She's also older too.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they think they can manipulate her because she's a little bit older than them.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And I found it interesting, too, when she actually was giving the speech. The way that they played it out, where she's giving the speech, we hear her son, Paul, talking to Paynon, and we realize not even her son is on her
Wow.
side.
That was crazy. to
It
me.
was nuts.
Yeah.
I was like, I would never talk about my mom like that. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
But it feels like even the son is kind of her own enemy right now, right? So she can't even trust her son anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at some point, I'm just thinking about, I was trying to put myself into the son's shoes, and I was like, wait a second, if I would know that my mom did these kind of things with all these different men, how would I feel about that? So sometimes I had a feeling I kind of get him, but then at the end I was like, hey, but she's still your mom. Calm down a little bit, right? That's still family. You can't really talk about your mom like that. But it's all about, and at the end of the day, I really have to say this whole show is telling me that power's over everything. If you want to be powerful, there is no relationship surviving here right now. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about the power.
Exactly. And that's the one thing, like in other shows that deal with the royals of
Right.
any royal family, a lot of times we see alliances, and we see certain parts of the family actually getting together and actually showing love and support. This
Right.
is not one of those situations.
Nope.
No, there is nobody.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that especially is so fascinating.
Right.
So she speaks to the crowd about freeing slaves and freeing the serfs. What did you guys make of that?
I felt that was great, and honestly, I didn't see that coming because that
neither.
showed a lot of humanity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, wow, what she just said is so right, obviously, and so true. But I would have never expected that. I was thinking she's exactly telling the audience or these people right now what they want to hear because she knows she's in a very powerful position, so she doesn't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
But she says the complete opposite that actually no one wanted to hear at that time.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting and very risky of her to do that, but I love it.
Especially for a woman who's scared, who she says later, I feel like I have no friends. So
Right.
for a woman who's in that position,
Exactly.
to be so direct and not afraid of speaking her mind,
Right.
that is such an interesting
Yeah.
aspect to her character.
She reminds me of Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That she just doesn't. And that's the thing with Daenerys is that Daenerys did the same thing sometimes.
Yeah.
She did things that were so unpopular, but she had that power and
Right.
nobody could stop her because there's a certain aspect to someone's person that
Right.
if they kind of exude that power and put their foot down and they're very strong and direct, and they play things the right way, it doesn't matter what they say exactly, just that they are, just that they are very, they're very certain of their beliefs.
Isn't that something that's happening right now? Anyway, let's move on. Man.
We're turned
I didn't
political.
say that.
So, all right. So we quickly start to meet all of these different people. We soon realize that one of the key players is going to be Potemkin. And we had a lot of little things happening with him. He was, we meet the Countess Bruce, and we see that she kind of sleeps with him.
That was like
Kind of.
Definitely sleeps with him.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because when they were sleeping together and he was talking about Catherine,
Right.
I assumed that he really was just here because he wanted to claim the throne.
right.
But it turns out that he wasn't.
right.
He actually likes her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. And it's
But like it was weird that he said that to her in the middle of like just having sex with her though.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say because maybe it could. See, I'm very concerned about this relationship. I'm concerned about all the relationships. I'm concerned
Right.
about all these males who are kind of like circling her because
Yeah.
they're all, to me, they feel like vultures.
Right.
That they are just kind of waiting to swoop in and take
sure,
the
for
crown.
sure.
And Orlov, like he was in it for a point until he
Right.
realized he was out
That's
and
right.
had no shot. But now we've got Potemkin, and he is just the way that he's playing it, and from what I
Right.
know about history, it feels genuine.
Yeah.
But I keep worrying that
Yeah.
there's going to be something that happens that kind of reveals that he has ulterior motives.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what I also found very interesting, I did a little bit of research to
Yeah.
understand, okay, why is Bruce now sleeping with him beforehand? And,
Yeah.
but Catherine kind of said it to her anyway.
I don't think she cares. Like,
and that's how they did
Yeah.
it back in the day because she wanted Bruce to check him first. Seriously, kind of sexually, okay, is he all right?
yeah.
And then Catherine's taken over. I was like, interesting, right?
Yeah.
So that's how they did it, I guess.
And
Yeah.
I just think from what we've read about Catherine too, the number of lovers that she had, I just don't think she cares. Like to her,
Right.
if this man who she loves or is starting to fall for, we should say,
Right.
if he's like actually, sleeping with somebody else,
Right.
what is it to her? She doesn't care.
Just another young man.
I
Right.
wonder what her parents were like. That's just like me being me though.
Well, she moved to Russia when she was 16. So one of the things about Catherine, and even Helen Mirren said this in an interview, is that Catherine was very self-sufficient and almost felt like she had raised herself.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
it wasn't, I get the sense from reading all of this that her parents, like her royal parents were
Right.
not very involved, which is not that untypical for this time period.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's interesting that you say that because I feel like watching her and watching Helen playing her, it feels like she's really trying to answer herself all the questions she has, right?
Yeah.
She's not really asking a lot of people. You know, at the end of the day, I feel like she's just listening what people tell her, but she's just pretty much talking to herself and just saying, okay, I think I need to do that.
And one of the things they really stress, and Catherine even says, is that you have to be a certain kind of person to end up where she is.
Exactly.
And so I think the word she used was unscrupulous.
Yeah.
And so you have to have certain abilities and certain ways of politically like finagling things to end up overthrowing your husband and having him offed. And then on top of that, in a world where this didn't happen for women, so
that made her so much more interesting to me.
The character is very interesting because I don't even know if is she brutal or is she not? Is she very emotional and maybe that makes her doing stuff? You know, I'm not sure. It's very interesting.
I think she's trying to figure that out for herself.
I guess,
And I also feel like, so we get the scene where it's the reveal that she's sleeping with Orlov, and we get a really interesting conversation with them. We see that they're basically cohabitating together, and Orlov wants to officially be married to her. And so it almost feels like they're a couple that's been together for a long time, and they're near the end. But it just felt very interesting to kind of have it revealed that way. And I just thought we learned a lot about Catherine there too. And just as we've been seeing her, she does things like she wants to free the serfs, but then at the same time, she makes passing remarks along the lines of, well, the rich didn't get rich by giving poor people their money. So I feel like to answer that question about, I don't know if she's nice or if she's mean. I think she's a combination. I think she can be a good person when she needs to be. And I think she can be ruthless the next minute if that's going to save her too.
For sure.
Yeah,
that was a really mean comment. I forgot about that.
In the very beginning, yeah.
But I also feel like when I thought about this comment that she did right at the beginning, but it was against Merovich. It was against this guy. So I felt like she kind of knew or had a feeling what this kind of person can do to her.
Yeah.
You know, I think the way how she was looking at her and what she was saying to him, she kind of knew, okay, he's dangerous for me. And I think that was also like the purpose for her saying these kind of lines, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just what I'm assuming.
Exactly. And then, so Mirovich, we see him throughout the episode.
Right.
He comes back again during the coming of age ceremony for Paul.
Right.
So when Pannon was talking to Paul, they were under the assumption that when Paul came of age, which is what the ceremony is all about, that he would naturally become the next king.
Right.
And that Catherine would be queen regent, and that was it.
Right.
And then it would pass along to Paul. But that we quickly see is not the case. But Mirovich, he's trying to stir people up as all of this is happening.
Yeah.
He's trying to get people so angry and pissed off that there's there's another coup.
Right.
Because he specifically goes to the military and tries to egg them on and just kind of say, hey, no, what are you doing? You know what she did to her husband?
Right.
And so it's not the threat is real with him.
Right.
And Catherine says this over and over again, but even if it's a tiny little threat, she needs to take care of it. And one of the things that we see kind of happening in this is this internal debate with her about whether she should have people killed or not based on their level of threat.
Right.
What did you guys make of that and those moments with her?
I think she realized that she doesn't have a choice. If she wants to stay in position and being this powerful woman, she has to do what she's maybe not even believing in.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. I think she isn't that brutal to just kill people, but she knows if I'm not doing that right now, I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line to me.
I think if she wants to be taken seriously and she wants the men to see her as somebody that they have to listen to in a sense, she has to go by the rules of the rules that they've been following for years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a fine line because as an empress, she can have people executed, but we can see how much she's struggling with that.
Oh, yeah.
And not the morals of it, but not just the morals, what is going to serve her the best.
Right.
And so we kind of see that as a struggle. We also get this kind of, we get this card game between her and, Orlov is there.
Yeah.
And her, all the other people in her, just surrounding her are there.
Right.
And we get this whole just kind of a power struggle that's going on between Orlov and Potemkin.
Right.
And we kind of see them playing off each other and arguing as we're seeing Mirovich kind of stirring up trouble. And it's
Right.
kind of like two separate things that are happening. And eventually, as Catherine is getting closer to Potemkin, we see a little scene between Orlov and his older brother inviting Potemkin to play a billiard game.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
That was really interesting.
Did you guys know that? Did you guys feel? Well, how did you guys feel when when Potemkin first walked up and was invited to play the game?
I had a feeling it was not just about a game. I had a feeling they're gonna do something with him.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say about this scene was very interesting is he's playing and he's winning the money, right? I think 5,000 or something was it, right? So he's winning the money.
Yeah.
So he's basically like he's winning the game at the end of the day. And then they start fighting. And there's this one moment, I don't know if you guys remember that, but when he's standing in front of the window, he sees the window. He's looking at the window for a millisecond and then is looking back to the brother. And then the brother is basically hitting him and he's falling out of the window. So for me, it was like, wait a second, he planned that even. Did you feel the same? I mean, like...
I felt exactly the same way. So I think Potemkin, I'm trying to read him because right now he's a soldier. So I assumed that naturally as an active soldier, he was going to be very strong as well.
Yeah.
But from his conversation with Orlov, with the two Orlov bros, as I called them in my notes, they are weird. From just the way that they were speaking with him, and just like if we look back at the card playing game, the consensus seems to be that Potemkin is like the brains, and that Orlov feels like he's more of the brute strength. That's the power dynamic I was feeling between the two of them.
Yeah.
Especially when Orlov kept mentioning that the Turks were coming and there was going to be a battle.
Yeah.
So I just got that sense that that's what this whole argument was over, okay, we need somebody who's strong, as in Orlov, to help with Catherine, not somebody who's intelligent.
Yeah.
And so not that Orlov is not intelligent, but I think that they were just trying to show that Potemkin was, superior intellectually, and that was kind of what he was bringing to the table.
Yeah.
And so when they had the scene, I knew when the Orlov bros called him in, that they knew, okay, we're stronger than this guy. There's two of us, even if we weren't. Let's kill him. Like, let's handle it. And we already knew, it was already hinted that Orlov and his brother took care of Peter.
So you think they really wanted to kill him?
I think that was the plan.
Even killing him,
I
right?
think they were going to make
Interesting.
him think he was winning that billiard game, from the get-go.
Oh, interesting.
And I think they knew, okay, well, there's a window. Like you said, they were looking at it.
Right.
I think that they were going to beat him up and then make it look like they got into a fight and accidentally kicked him out the window.
All three of them got into the same fight?
Yeah.
Why play the game? Why not just kill him?
Well, I think that they were worried that politically speaking, if they just killed him, that Catherine, who is fond of Potemkin, would probably have them executed, or that it just wouldn't look good and it would look like they were they were just killing somebody.
Right.
Whereas if they were having a physical fight and people from below probably were overhearing this, it probably seemed like they got into a fight over arguing, and that it accidentally led to a window shove. That's what I'm thinking.
It's a good response.
Yeah.
But I even believe that Potemkin is so smart that he even used the situation knowing that they're going to do that to him anyway to his advantage.
He smiled.
I think he did that on purpose.
While he was getting hit.
I think he was trying to beat them up himself and trying to just get out of the situation. But when he realized, okay, they're probably going to be stronger, 2 men against 1, maybe they're going to be stronger. I used that to my advantage because I know already, hey, wait a second, I can feel that Catherine likes me.
Exactly.
And now I'm trying to be the guy, unfortunate, I was beating up, oh my God, look how I look like, and this kind of guy.
Yeah.
I think he uses that right now.
So before we get to our special segments, let's speak about the final scene, where kind of what you were mentioning about how he's all beaten up, his face is kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Potemkin doesn't want to go to the party. What I found interesting, though, on top of all of that, was that the men were wearing traditionally feminine outfits, and the females were wearing traditionally male outfits. And I thought that was done on purpose. I didn't research whether that actually happened or not, but I thought that in terms of the show, it was done on purpose because they were trying to say, no, the females have the power, and that this is how it's going to be, and we're not, like, Catherine's not going anywhere. And I also kind of thought that it was speaking to our generation, to everything going on now.
Yeah, for sure.
Not so much, I don't want to say the Me Too movement, because I feel like that isn't quite it, but this movement of, you know, hey, like, it's in, you know, even in government or in Hollywood, it's been like you know, a gentleman's club, and so now the power is not that the power is shifting, but it's starting to become more equal,
right? And
there's more representation for females, and I feel like that's what the show is also speaking to,
right.
Aside from that actual everything going on in 1770 as well. So what just real quickly, what were your thoughts on that final scene?
I was not expecting to see that. I liked it. It was really funny, actually. Like, I think, like, one of them said, my tits are too big or something.
Yeah.
And that caught me so off guard, but it was hilarious. I like their interpretation of, like, what a woman is and, like, how they're supposed to act. I thought that was really, like, brilliantly done.
Yeah. I agree with you.
And
definitely.
I thought the same thing, and I appreciate that you said that already. I think it really much speaks about our time too, because talking about transgenders, for example, talking about the gay community, you know, everyone today wants to be free and do whatever they feel like is the right thing for them and what they love and passionate about. And I think that was a great moment to see, hey, even back then, men just were wearing like dresses and like, you know, having makeup on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see that it all comes back in a way, right? So that's a beautiful thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciated that. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get to our first segment. We're going to talk about the historical inaccuracies in Catherine the Great.
Oh.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. HBO, they are partnering up with Sky to do this. This is their second time. Chernobyl was the first HBO and Sky collaboration, and Chernobyl was very historically accurate. Catherine the Great is along the same vein in terms of it's very close.
Okay.
There's just a couple of really tiny things. Everything going on with Ivan the Sixth. He was prisoner number 1. He actually was executed when it was like 1762 when Catherine first became the empress. They're showing it in 1770. So it's just a couple of date things. The only other thing I wanted to mention was when Catherine says in the beginning in her speech that she's German. It's a little more nuanced than that. So Catherine was technically from Prussia. Germany, this is 1762 1770 right now. But when Catherine lived in Prussia, there was technically no unified Germany. So she would have said that she was Prussian. German nationalist, yes, she probably would have. She was definitely a German nationalist when I looked that up. Germany was not unified until 1871 under Otto von Bismarck. So technically, she was not German, she was Prussian. Outside of that, everything was pretty accurate with a couple of date mix-ups.
Thank you, Otto.
Danke.
Dankeschön. Yeah, vielen Dank.
So let's go ahead and get to our next segment, Ben.
Yeah, guys, I definitely want to talk about that, right? We have this special segment right now, and as we know that Catherine really likes younger men, right? I felt like, hey, why not talking about the present? Because that's actually one of the biggest topics we also have today, that also celebrity women are dating younger men. And what would be the best example to show today? Of course, Jennifer Lopez. We love you, Jennifer Lopez, but I know, and we all know, that you also love younger men. And the first example I wanted to show you is basically like a past relationship she had with Casper Smart. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was back in the day, around 3-4 years ago. She was basically like in a relationship with him. She was dating him, and he was 29 at that point, and she was 47.
Wow.
You know, and I'm always thinking like, oh my God, man, Casper, you have J-Lo, okay? Why did you cheat on her twice?
Yeah. I don't remember that at all. Whoa.
Yeah.
You cheated on her?
I did my research, people,
Where is he now, though?
That's the point. Where is he now? He's gone, right? But what he basically did, and it's very, very funny, he said, you know, it was a mistake. And he basically went on Instagram and was apologizing every time for months. And then he also got a tattoo on his leg saying, you have to embrace the darkness. What? You have to embrace the darkness to see the light.
I don't remember this.
So he basically was cheating on her to go through darkness and then hopefully seeing the light. But the light never happened.
Wow.
So I just wanted to ask you guys, because you are female, I'm male, but you have to tell me now. So what do you guys think about that older women are dating younger men? Also, audience at home, please tell us your comments, please.
I don't think that females should be held to a different standard than men, and there are plenty of men who date. Who was it that Dennis Quaid just got engaged to somebody?
A 26-year-old.
26.
What?
And nobody. I mean, okay, a couple people are kind of like, what? Because he's 65.
Because it's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
I didn't hear that.
But
Wow.
like another prime example is, and I just did an article about this, but Ashton Kutcher, when he was dating Demi Moore, and Bruce Willis, who had been married to Demi,
Right.
No one batted an eye when he was dating somebody like
Right.
25 years his junior. So I don't think it should be. I don't care. Like, if you love is love, like, you should be with who you want to be with.
Totally agree. Thank you so much for saying that. I
Yeah.
think it's just a number at the end of the day, right? But I just wanted to point that out because when I did some research on Catherine the Great, I was like, wow, I didn't expect that back in the day like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think she had 22 guys.
Ooh.
Wow.
I was like, respect for that, right?
Yes.
So, but anyways, just let us know your comments on YouTube, right? If
Yeah.
you're watching the show, we would love to hear from you guys. What do you think about that, right? Let us know. Thank you so much. That was it.
Yeah, and I think that's perfect because now we're gonna jump to our news segment with Haley.
Yes.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So if you really liked this show and you want to learn more about Captain the Great, Time Magazine actually did a whole article about it. It's very very detailed. So if you are a history buff, I think you'd really like this. There's a video too. So you can watch the video and then read the article.
Awesome. And that's actually, it's funny because that was one of the sites I was reading through
Me too.
when I was trying to find the real history
Right.
of Catherine the Great. So thank you for pointing that out. For all of you watching at home, that is I read through it too as a history buff. Yes, definitely. It's very, very thorough and the video is amazing. So watch it. For our last segment, let's jump to our predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ben, would you like to start?
Thank you. So what I'm just saying is, I know it's gonna happen. She's gonna have a lot of good sex with Potemkin.
Oh,
And with Potemkin and a lot more people, I guess. So I would love to see that. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're ending on sex. Haley?
I think I agree with that. I think Potemkin is gonna be very angry about this though. I think he actually wants to is dating a thing back then?
Not in this traditional sense, but courting.
I think he wants her to be his lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mirovich is gonna die. Not next episode.
Well, that was the very end of this one, is that they
Really?
executed him.
Yeah, that was him actually.
That was him?
That was him, yeah.
That was him.
Never mind
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, so you were right.
I was right.
So you saw the future already. Damn.
Your prediction is dead on. Okay, I think that, we know that this show is going to be very historically accurate, and so I am assuming that based on the trailer and based on everything we've seen so far, we are going to get a lot between Potemkin and Catherine, and we're going to see kind of their relationship, where what I'm really thinking is going to happen is we're going to see them have maybe another, this is a 4-episode series, miniseries, so we're maybe going to have maybe the next episode kind of revolves around more of their love and their relationship. I think we're going to do time jumps too, because I
Right.
think that the show is supposed to cover the end of her,
Oh, wow.
up through the moment when she passes.
Oh.
I believe
In
from
4 episodes. Wow.
yeah, I believe, I could be wrong, but the trailer made it look like that,
Right.
so that's part of my prediction.
Interesting.
I think that we're gonna see their relationship kind of grow in this next episode,
Right.
And then when we get to the final couple, it's gonna be them apart from each other and how they both kind of struggle with everything going on in Russia
Right.
and the Turkish war and everything that's going on up and through the end of her reign.
Right.
So that's kind of where I see it going. So next episode, I feel like we're going to get more of them together. And Orlov, I almost sense that Orlov's going to try to stage some kind of coup too, or her son Paul. So I think she's going to have a lot to contend with.
Think that of Paul.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing. I
I don't
think he
think
likes
Paul's
her.
that smart. Just
I don't know that he's necessarily smart. I agree with you, but I think that he is very power hungry, and I
Okay.
think that might trump any kind of intelligence. And
Right.
he has friends who will help him.
I agree with you on that.
the minister, right? What's his name again?
Panin.
Panin. I
Yeah.
think he basically kind of controls Paul a little bit. In a
I
way.
think so,
Paul is
too.
believing and is doing exactly what he's telling him at the end of the day.
And another prediction is that
Right.
with Panin, I don't think that he's good to Catherine. I don't think she should trust him. She is trusting him, surprisingly, but I don't think she should, and I think he's
Yeah.
going to burn her.
For sure, because he's always saying that every time when you see him on screen, like, I was always loyal to you.
Yeah.
Right, every time.
then
That
he goes back.
I'm one of the reasons why you're in this position.
Oh, that is
And I
such-
think she kind of like acknowledged that a little bit, So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, thank you guys for your predictions. We have run out of time for today, unfortunately. So, Ben, where can everybody find you?
Oh my God. Okay, thank you so much, by the way, for doing that today, guys. I love it. So you can find me on Instagram and also Facebook at Benjamin Schnau. I always say that in German.
Auf Deutsch.
SCHNAU. Just think about the dog and you got it. Thank you.
Hey guys, you can find me everywhere at Haley Matthews.
And I am Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter at Rach Goodman or on my author Instagram at Rachel Radner Author. I'm also on Facebook at Rachel Radner as well. Until next time, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to discuss episode 2 of Catherine the Great. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Genau.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.